Hello, my name is Austin, and this is Go Access, a YouTube channel dedicated to access in higher education and disability rights. Today, I will be covering a research article for Thursday's research article channel. So every Thursday, I plan to have a research article to discuss. So today's article is Developing Inclusive Educators, Enhancing the Accessibility of Teaching and Learning in Higher Education by Elizabeth Marquise, Bonnie Young, Ann Fudge, and a couple other contributors. It's from the International Journal for Academic Development. And the article uses semi structured interviews with faculty, staff, and students to kind of determine what about accessibility in a Canadian university and looking at how um, ex- um, staff and students and faculty can be educated more about accessibility and to include accessibility into their teaching methods to help students with disabilities. Um, it looked at staff and students with and without disabilities. Students with disabilities were asked to journal about teaching and learning in terms of accessibility. Uh, and it just tried to get a holistic kind of picture of what staff, students, and faculty are kind of dealing with when it comes to accessibility in a university setting. So let's see what the results say. Training and events. Staff mentioned that only people who are already interested in accessibility attend the events. I kind of noticed this as well at my college. It's sometimes difficult to attract other staff members from other department areas who don't have an accessibility focus or might not know what that is to come to the voluntary events. Mandating that students, staff, faculty review an accessibility PowerPoint and take a quiz is a poor way of incorporating accessibility. This was attempted at the Canadian University and it received a lot of pushback and said, we want to have a discussion about accessibility. Doing some quick PowerPoint and a quiz is not effective in helping us learn of how to integrate accessibility into our teaching methods. I think this was particularly the feedback from faculty. Lack of awareness of the trainings and just kind of that there are trainings and what they are and getting people to come who don't have that focus, as I kind of mentioned already. Um, so one of the quotes from the administrator at the university was, "I am not sure what you do if you need more time for hands-on training sessions, or you have a student who is, let's say, dyslexic, so they can't read things on screens. So that is where we need some more help on what we are supposed to be doing." So it's kind of like they don't have that education and background of how to help students with disabilities, and they're kind of expressing that. Um, and access pedagogy, faculty and staff need to learn how to incorporate accessibility principles to overcome a student's academic challenges. A grounding of universal design principles is really necessary for this. Multiple methods for expressing knowledge. These were some of the things that were kind of expressed of how to start incorporating accessibility. I think universal design is very important. Um, Another thing, this is my one of my takes too, is alternate assignments and trying to have rather than putting all the weight on tests or essays, having a wide variety of assignments for students, so you're looking at multiple methods and learning preferences to try and incorporate that. So like maybe doing a creative project combined with a multiple choice tests combined with coming up with some type of proposal, trying to give different ways of doing things. So I just have some examples listed below. Including students with disabilities. Instructors found benefit in including students with disabilities who are willing to talk about accessibility and present on that. People sharing their personal, disability experience can help broaden people's perspectives. So I think that definitely is important to have that discussion. At the same time, there was also a mention that you don't hearing one person's perspective is just one person's perspective, as one of the students expressed, and you don't want to make it their responsibility to express their experience having a disability, particularly a student's experience with that. you want to kind of have something there focused on accessibility and letting people contribute their ideas and experiences and kind of chime in. Discussion is really key, and that was a real theme from this research article. Was the focus that there's a real opportunity to learn about the experience of having a disability, and for people to kind of share their experiences if you have the right setup and you really have something that's more discussion based or incorporates discussion along with the presentation. So that was something that was really a lot of desire was expressed for. Um, a desire for examples of how to handle different situations when interacting with students with disabilities was expressed. So, when you're working with students, let's say on the autism spectrum or with dyslexia, each situation can be a little bit different if you're working in staff, faculty. Kind of having different ideas and different scenarios presented on is something that was really important. There was a desire for an online resources as well. I think that can be definitely really helpful, but it's not the central piece. But having something you could go to look up is definitely good. And they kind of talked about a hybrid approach of maybe some mandatory meetings and stuff to learn about accessibility in conjunction with some online resources as a way of going. Um, but again, they said that there was a desire for something mandatory that wouldn't be optional, which I thought was really interesting because a lot of times faculty and staff are very busy, but they do feel like incorporating and learning about accessibility education would be important. Um, so I just want to thank you for tuning into this episode, and I will catch you in the next one. Please like, comment, and subscribe.